Religious extremism poses a significant threat to global peace and security. It fuels violence, instability, and human rights abuses. Understanding this complex phenomenon is crucial for addressing its root causes and mitigating its devastating effects. This essay will delve into the historical and contemporary manifestations of religious extremism, analyze its causes, and explore potential solutions. Extremism, in its various forms, often stems from a distorted interpretation of religious texts and teachings. It often involves a rigid adherence to a narrow ideology. This ideology is used to justify violence and intolerance against those deemed outsiders or enemies. The consequences of such extremism are far-reaching, impacting individuals, communities, and entire nations. Addressing religious extremism requires a multifaceted approach. It demands a nuanced understanding of the historical, social, economic, and political factors that contribute to its rise. We must engage in critical self-reflection, examining how our own societies may inadvertently contribute to the problem. Ultimately, the path to a more peaceful and just world requires a collective effort to promote understanding, tolerance, and respect across all faiths and cultures. By addressing the root causes of extremism and fostering inclusive societies, we can create a world where everyone feels safe and respected, regardless of their religious beliefs. Religious extremism is not a new phenomenon. Throughout history, there have been numerous instances of violence and persecution carried out in the name of religion. These events serve as stark reminders of the dangers of religious intolerance and the importance of promoting interfaith dialogue and understanding. One of the most well-known examples is the Crusades, a series of religious wars fought between Christians and Muslims in the Middle Ages. The Crusades were initiated by the Catholic Church with the stated goal of reclaiming the Holy Land from Muslim rule. These campaigns were marked by violence, brutality, and widespread bloodshed on both sides. Another example is the Spanish Inquisition, established in the 15th century by the Catholic monarchs of Spain. The Inquisition was aimed at eliminating heresy and maintaining Catholic orthodoxy within Spain. It led to the persecution of Jews, Muslims, and other religious minorities, who were often subjected to torture, imprisonment, and execution. These historical events highlight the dangers of using religion to justify violence and oppression. They serve as cautionary tales, reminding us of the importance of tolerance, respect, and understanding between different religious groups. Religious extremism continues to plague the world today, manifesting in various forms and ideologies. From the rise of radical Islamist groups like ISIS to the resurgence of white supremacist movements, religious extremism remains a potent force for violence and instability. One of the most prominent examples of modern religious extremism is the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, or ISIS. This terrorist organization, which emerged in the wake of the US-led invasion of Iraq, gained notoriety for its brutal tactics and its stated goal of establishing a global caliphate. ISIS's ideology is based on a distorted interpretation of Islam, which it uses to justify its horrific acts of violence against those it deems infidels or apostates. Another example is the Taliban, an Islamist movement that seized control of Afghanistan in the 1990s. The Taliban's ideology is rooted in a strict interpretation of Islamic law, which it enforced with an iron fist during its rule. The Taliban's regime was marked by human rights abuses, particularly against women and girls, who were denied education, employment, and freedom of movement. These examples demonstrate the diverse manifestations of religious extremism in the 21st century. They underscore the need for a nuanced and comprehensive approach to countering this complex phenomenon, one that addresses the underlying factors that contribute to its rise. Religious extremism often thrives in environments characterized by repression, discrimination, and alienation. When individuals or groups feel marginalized, persecuted, or deprived of their basic rights, they may become more susceptible to extremist ideologies that offer a sense of belonging, purpose, or justice. Repressive governments that deny their citizens basic freedoms of religion, speech, and assembly can create fertile ground for extremism to take root. By silencing moderate voices and limiting opportunities for peaceful dissent, such regimes inadvertently bolster the appeal of extremist groups that offer a channel for expressing grievances and challenging the status quo. Moreover, discrimination and social exclusion based on religious beliefs or practices can fuel feelings of resentment and anger, pushing individuals towards extremist groups that exploit these grievances to advance their own agendas. When people feel like they are not treated as equal members of society, they may be more likely to embrace extremist ideologies that promise a sense of belonging and empowerment. Addressing the root causes of extremism requires creating inclusive societies that respect the rights and dignity of all citizens, regardless of their religious beliefs. This includes promoting freedom of religion, combating discrimination, and ensuring equal opportunities for all. Section 5. Socioeconomic disparities fueling the fire of extremism. Socioeconomic factors such as poverty, inequality, and lack of opportunity play a significant role in the rise of religious extremism. Extremist groups often exploit these grievances, offering a sense of purpose, belonging, and even economic support to vulnerable populations. In many parts of the world, poverty and lack of opportunity create a sense of hopelessness and despair, making people more susceptible to extremist ideologies that offer a way out of their kunjing. Extremist groups often target marginalized communities, providing basic necessities, education, and job training, albeit with a heavy dose of indoctrination. Furthermore, widespread inequality and a lack of social mobility can create a breeding ground for resentment and anger, which extremist groups can exploit. When people feel like the system is rigged against them and they have no chance of improving their lives through legitimate means, they may be more likely to turn to extremist groups that promise a more just and equitable society, even if it means resorting to violence. Addressing socioeconomic disparities is crucial for countering religious extremism. This includes promoting inclusive economic growth, creating job opportunities, and investing in education and social safety nets that provide a pathway out of poverty and reduce inequality. Section 6. The role of foreign intervention, unintended consequences. Foreign intervention, particularly military intervention in Muslim-majority countries, has often been cited as a contributing factor to the rise of religious extremism. While intended to promote stability and democracy, these interventions can have the unintended consequence of exacerbating existing tensions, creating power vacuums, and fueling anti-Western sentiment. Military interventions, even when well-intentioned, can result in civilian casualties, displacement, and destruction of infrastructure, creating resentment and anger among local populations. This can make people more receptive to extremist ideologies that portray the West as hostile and exploitative. Moreover, foreign interventions can destabilize fragile states, creating power vacuums that extremist groups can exploit. The US-led invasion of Iraq, for example, toppled Saddam Hussein's regime, but also created a security vacuum that allowed groups like ISIS to flourish. To mitigate the unintended consequences of foreign intervention, it is crucial to prioritize diplomacy, conflict resolution, and development assistance over military solutions. Supporting local actors, promoting good governance, and addressing the root causes of conflict are essential for building sustainable peace and stability. Section 7. Education, a powerful antidote to extremism. Education plays a crucial role in combating religious extremism. By fostering critical thinking, promoting tolerance, and providing alternative narratives to extremist ideologies, education can empower individuals and communities to resist the allure of extremism. Access to quality education, particularly education that promotes critical thinking skills, can help individuals to deconstruct extremist ideologies and develop their own informed opinions. By teaching students to question assumptions, evaluate evidence, and think independently, education can serve as a powerful antidote to extremist propaganda. Furthermore, education can promote tolerance and understanding between different religious and cultural groups. By teaching students about different faiths, cultures, and worldviews, education can help to break down stereotypes, reduce prejudice, and foster a sense of shared humanity. It is essential to provide young people with alternative narratives to the messages of hate and division often propagated by extremist groups. By highlighting the values of peace, tolerance, and respect for diversity, education can empower young people to become agents of positive change in their communities. Section 8. Combating extremism. A multifaceted approach. Addressing the complex challenge of religious extremism requires a comprehensive and multifaceted approach that goes beyond simply addressing the symptoms. This involves tackling the root causes, countering extremist narratives, and promoting tolerance and understanding. Governments and law enforcement agencies play a critical role in countering extremist violence through law enforcement, intelligence sharing, and counter-terrorism measures. However, it is equally important to address the underlying factors that contribute to the appeal of extremist ideologies. Countering extremist narratives is crucial for preventing the spread of extremist ideologies, particularly online. This involves promoting alternative narratives that emphasize peace, tolerance, and respect for diversity, as well as working with technology companies to remove extremist content from online platforms. Engaging with communities and religious leaders is essential for building trust and fostering resilience to extremist ideologies. This includes supporting community-led initiatives that promote interfaith dialogue, challenge extremist narratives, and provide counter-messaging. Section 9, International Cooperation, a united front against extremism. Given the global nature of religious extremism, international cooperation is essential for effectively addressing this transnational threat. This includes sharing intelligence, coordinating counter-terrorism efforts, and addressing the root causes of extremism. Intelligence sharing between countries is crucial for tracking the movements of extremist groups, disrupting their financing networks, and preventing attacks. This requires building trust and cooperation between intelligence agencies across borders. Coordinated counter-terrorism efforts are essential for dismantling extremist networks and bringing perpetrators of violence to justice. This includes sharing best practices, providing training and capacity-building assistance, and working together to extradite suspects. Addressing the root causes of extremism, such as poverty, inequality, and lack of opportunity, requires a global effort. This includes promoting sustainable development, supporting good governance, and addressing conflict and instability. Section 10, Conclusion, Building a more peaceful and inclusive world. Religious extremism poses a significant threat to global peace and security, but it is not insurmountable. By addressing the root causes, promoting tolerance and understanding, and working together across borders, we can create a more peaceful and inclusive world for all. Combating extremism requires a long-term commitment to building societies that are resilient to extremist ideologies. This means investing in education, promoting social justice, and creating opportunities for all members of society to reach their full potential. The path to a more peaceful world requires a collective effort from governments, civil society organizations, religious leaders, and individuals. By working together, we can create a world where everyone feels safe, respected, and valued, regardless of their religious beliefs. Let us all commit to building a future free from the scourge of religious extremism, where peace, tolerance, and understanding prevail. This is a challenge that demands our urgent attention and our unwavering commitment. The future of humanity depends on it.